Hello and welcome to your science news update for February 5th, 2026. We have some absolutely incredible breakthroughs to talk about today.
So, in today's bulletin, we're going to cover some mind-bending breakthroughs in quantum computing.
Then we're heading over to Mars, where AI is literally taking the wheel.
And we'll even uncover some brand new secrets about ancient life, both here on Earth and maybe beyond. So, let's just dive right in.
Okay, first up, future tech. We're exploring tomorrow's breakthroughs that are, happening today.
So get this. Physicists have figured out a way to make our electronics quieter by basically breaking a standard rule of physics.
Okay, so this is where it gets kind of weird, a little counterintuitive. You know how in your phone or your laptop, the more power you push through it, the more electrical static or interference you get? That's called flicker noise. Well, scientists have created these new nanowires from tantalum and niobium where the exact opposite happens. As you crank up the current, the noise actually goes down. Now, why does that matter? Well, this could be a huge deal for building more stable and reliable quantum computers because those things are just unbelievably sensitive to this kind of noise. All right, let's jump from the nanoscale all the way to the red planet. NASA's Perseverance rover, wow, it has just done something truly historic. This is a massive milestone for autonomous exploration.
Okay, this is just so cool. For the first time ever, the rover drove a pretty long way using a route that was planned completely by its own onboard AI. Just let that sink in for a second. There was no one back on Earth with a joystick guiding it. The AI itself looked at pictures of the Martian landscape, figured out what was dangerous, big rocks, steep hills, and then plotted a safe path all by itself. This is a gigantic leap forward for exploring places where having a human in the loop is either really hard or just plain impossible.
And staying in the world of tech for one more story, there's a new breakthrough in optics that could totally revolutionize how we communicate wirelessly in the future.
So what's happened is researchers have developed this ultra-thin, specially engineered material. They're calling it a metasurface. And what makes it so amazing is that it can actually bend and focus different channels of light based on one of their properties, their spin. Now, if you can control light that precisely, it means you can cram way more information into our communication systems. We're talking a massive boost in data speeds for pretty much everything, from the fiber optic cables that are the backbone of the internet to the next generation of unbelievably fast computers.
Okay, let's shift gears. We've been talking about the future, now let's jump into the distant past. There are some incredible new discoveries that are basically forcing us to rewrite the history books.
And you know what's wild? Our journey into the past actually starts on another planet. Yep, we're talking about Mars again. And it's all thanks to some new revelations from a really famous meteorite that fell right here on Earth. So, scientists use these really advanced scanning techniques on this meteorite they call Black Beauty. And what they found was that it has way more water trapped inside its minerals than anyone ever thought. This is a huge clue. It's really powerful evidence supporting the idea that ancient Mars was a much wetter place, maybe with oceans, maybe with rivers. And of course, that just strengthens the case that it might have been able to support life at one point.
All right, coming back to Earth now, we've got two totally different discoveries that are shaking up what we thought we knew about some ancient animals.
And this is a really fascinating contrast. So on one side, you have paleontologists who've just identified a brand new type of small, plant-eating dinosaur. It's called Phascea pelendonum. And the really exciting part is that it has some features that are surprisingly bird-like, which could mean we have to rethink parts of that whole dinosaur-to-bird evolution story. Then on the other side, you've got this incredible story of endurance. DNA analysis has revealed that saltwater crocodiles, get this, swam over 1,800 miles across the open Indian Ocean. They went all the way from Australia to the Seychelles. I mean, that is just an absolutely astonishing journey.
And now for a discovery that is pushing the history of a major human disease way back. We're talking thousands of years.
So, scientists have managed to pull out the oldest known genome of the bacteria linked to syphilis, and they got it from a 5,500-year-old skeleton found in Colombia. This is a real game changer. Why? Because it strongly suggests that some ancient form of the disease was already in the Americas long before European contact. And that just completely flips the old theory about where it came from and how it spread on its head.
Hey, just a quick pause here. If you're finding these updates interesting and you want to keep up with all the latest discoveries, do us a favor and take a second to hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps us keep these coming.
All right, for our final section today, we are diving deep into the blueprint of life itself. We've got some amazing new insights into cognition and health.
So it turns out some really complex cognitive skills might be more baked into us from the start than we ever realized.
This is just fascinating stuff. Okay, so in one study, the famous bonobo, Kanzi, actually showed he could do symbolic pretend play. You know, like pretending a toy is something else? That's a really complex skill we used to think was only for humans. Now, at the same time, in a totally different study, researchers used brain scans and found that human babies, at just 2 months old, can already put objects into different categories. So when you put those two discoveries side by side, it really suggests that these advanced thinking skills might be hardwired into our biology, a deeper part of our evolutionary story than we ever knew.
And to wrap things up today, there's a huge step forward in genetics that's opening the door to truly personalized medicine. And this could help millions of people who deal with a really common skin condition.
What researchers have done is they've pinpointed specific genetic signatures that can actually predict how severe someone's psoriasis will be. And not only that, but also how they're likely to respond to certain drugs. They even found a key biomarker, a signature made up of 9 specific genes. Now this is so important because it finally starts to move us away from that one-size-fits-all approach to medicine. It means that pretty soon, a doctor might be able to use a simple genetic test to give you the most effective treatment right from the get-go, one that's tailored specifically to your own unique genetic profile. Just amazing.
And that's a wrap for today's science news. Another update will follow in 24 hours. Thanks for tuning in.